It's always a fun day when Alice Zaslavsky comes into the Everyday Gourmet kitchen. Oh, you're just a breath of fresh air.
Well, Justine Schofield, take a big breath in because I'm going to show you a whole new cuisine
Right.
for you to fall in love with.
What is it?
Georgian food.
I don't know much about Georgian food, so I am very interested.
Well, Georgia is actually where I'm from.
Oh my gosh, there you go.
Yeah, so I came to Australia when I was 6 and Georgia is at the crossroads of Europe and Asia.
Right.
So if you think about the fresh herbs of Southeast Asia...
I think you've brought enough herbs in today.
That's it. With the spicing of the spice trail of northern India...
Right.
And the veg-forward cuisine that I think people know me best for.
Absolutely.
That's Georgia.
Okay, so we're going to be cooking this from your new book, your third book, The Joy of Better Cooking. I just think it's a sensational book. And the reason I chose this particular recipe from your book is because it seems that there's so many different layers of flavour, something I haven't tasted before.
That's it. And so this is a Georgian soup called Kharcho. So I'm going to get you right onto the herb chopping.
Sure.
Chop me some stalks of the parsley, coriander, mint and dill. All of those stalks will go into a khmeli suneli paste.
Okay.
Khmeli suneli is a Georgian spice mix. It's kind of like our garam masala.
Right.
So we're also going to add some walnuts and all of these spices. It's a spicy soup, so cayenne pepper.
Ooh, lovely. Now, what is the base of your soup over there?
Well, I know how much you love a mirepoix. It's actually a really basic tomato-based, almost like a minestrone, I suppose, with a mirepoix, your celery, your carrot, your onion, which gets sweated down. But then you add things like pomegranate molasses for a bit of acidity.
Oh,
and so it's sweet, sour, hot, and so unctuous as well.
Is that quite dominant in Georgian food, pomegranate molasses too?
Pomegranate, yeah. Think about all of the Middle Eastern spices and Middle Eastern flavours and fruits especially, so things like figs and pomegranates, persimmons. My grandfather had a dacha, which is kind of like a weekender, and he would take all of those fruits, he'd be growing all of our own fruits and vegetables, and that was my earliest memories were sitting in the garden waiting till he was not looking and grabbing fruits off the trees. And of course, when you're grinding things in a mortar and pestle, it's important that you add some salt for friction. So in here, I've got ground fennel seeds, ground coriander, cayenne pepper for the heat, and some fenugreek.
Fenugreek?
Fenugreek is a really commonly used spice in Georgian cuisine.
And used quite a lot in Indian cuisine too. So there you talk about the cross-section there of the spice trail.
Exactly,
Yes,
exactly, Juzzy. And cross-section that straight into here for me.
Absolutely.
And I want you to grind this right up because it's very, very therapeutic getting a grind on.
Ah, so you are getting me to do all the work. I see. All right.
And the good thing about a soup that takes advantage of the leftovers is that most of the work's been done for you. So I've got some cooked jasmine rice.
Right.
You can use basmati, whatever you've got left over, brown rice, everything will work.
Yep.
And just kind of let that cook away.
Very nice.
Because we're essentially just like reheating leftovers.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea because I've always got some celery, some onion and carrot in the fridge. You can make this base soup and then build with all of these different spices. And a lot of these spices we're going to have in our pantry already. Now, while I grind this, let's talk about another big component in this soup, eggplant.
Yes, and eggplant's a big component in Georgian cookery in general. And so when you salt your eggplant, which you don't have to do for everything, the only time I would salt eggplant is if I'm trying to take out as much moisture as possible. There's this myth with eggplant that you salt it to take the bitterness out. And sure, salt mitigates bitterness, but it doesn't draw the bitterness out. It draws the moisture out. It breaks the cells down of the eggplant and it makes it gorgeous and silky.
And what are we going to be doing with our eggplant?
Well, you can see I've heated up some rice bran oil, but you can use whatever neutral oil you use for deep frying. And once the eggplant is nice and squeezed out of all the moisture, again, therapeutic, that goes into the frying oil at 180 degrees and it'll fry away and become lovely and golden. And the eggplant is kind of like the meaty component of the dish.
Very nice. All right, well, I'm going to finish pounding this. We're going to add it to this beautiful soup. Alice is going to deep fry this delicious eggplant.
Along with some more
tomatoes. We're going to fry the tomatoes too. So again, another little pop of sweetness there.
Yes, and when the tomatoes fry, they pop like little golden snitches. They're just like little beetles. And some garlic as well will fry right at the last moment.
All right, we've got a bit of work to do, so let's get on to it.
Let's do it.
right, we've fried off our eggplant, garlic, and these tomatoes. How great do they look?
Aren't they cute?
They just needed that little moment in the oil for them to be completely fried.
That's it.
And this,
Khmeli suneli.
sameli.
It's so fragrant, so aromatic, that goes into your soup. And that, if you're making it from scratch, you would put that in first.
Right.
But because we're using leftovers, you can put that in last.
Okay.
And stir it through, and essentially it's going to flavour up and give texture to your soup.
So you put the whole lot in there.
You put the whole lot in.
Yep.
Stir it all around. Walnuts are really meaty as well, Juzzy.
Yes.
So again, you know, if you've got plant-based eaters coming round, it's going to make them feel like they've got the main event.
Yeah, it's certainly not a boring soup. And what I'm doing here is just finishing off a little extra for this soup, which is a Gremolata. So,
And I'm calling it a Georgian Gremolata because that doesn't exist, but it's just all the flavoursome leaves of the herbs and some zest of lemon and some garlic.
yeah, and it smells so good. All right, let's plate this up.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you really wouldn't need this as an entree.
Nuh-uh.
This is a main, and it's just wholesome and good for you, right?
Totally.
And look how thick the soup has become because of that rice and the potatoes that were added at the beginning there.
And now the piece de resistance, the texture of this dish. So the deep fried eggplant, you know, why don't we trim the tomato, keep the truss on it,
Love that.
and the deep fried garlic. Yes.
Oh, she's pretty.
And then the Georgian Gremolata on top. And
Straight over.
straight over, lick of olive oil.
And extra walnuts.
Why not?
Wow, Alice, that certainly is a serious soup right there.
And as you say, layers of texture,
Yes.
layers of flavour, and because it is something that so few people have tasted, you're in for a really memorable meal.
Oh, I'm intrigued. One spoon for you. I'm gonna have a little taste of this. I understand why you love that soup. Taste of home for you, I imagine.
That's it. Yeah.
That is a divine recipe. Make that and many more beautiful recipes in Alice's new book.